Yesterday we finished off with, we didn't finish, almost done, with Keli Shemalachta Le'Isser. Vessel's primary use is for something forbidden on Shabbos, so you're only allowed to move it, what's called Tzerach Gufay, Mekaymei, and you can't move it for any other reason. So the last thing we discussed is paper clips are not at all forbidden, not Muktza at all, because you can use paper clips in Shabbos. You're not, a staple is, you're stapling it, so you're sewing it. But a paper clip is putting on and off. It's not a problem. Okay, another thing over here is an umbrella. Now, an umbrella primarily is used to create a tent over your head to protect you from the rain. So you're not allowed to use an umbrella on Shabbos, because on Shabbos, or Yom Tov for that matter, even though Yom Tov you can carry, you're still not allowed to use an umbrella. Why? Because you are creating a tent over your head. Okay? So even if it's open already, it's all not getting into the dinim of an umbrella now with the dinim what's called ohel. The bottom line is you're not allowed to use an umbrella on Shabbos. So therefore, an umbrella is kedei shemalachta le'isser. But what happens if somebody wants to use it to help them walk? They're not going to open it. They're just going to use it like a walking cane. Or an umbrella comes in very handy if you want to get something from the top shelf. So you take the umbrella that has the hook so you can pull it down. So that would be tzerach gufay. So that would be allowed. There's no problem. You can use the tzerach gufay. What happened? Or if you need the place, somebody left the umbrella on the dining room table or whatever, and you need the place, so again you can move it. Now brushes are like this. What?
Is it so specifically for the physical object, or is it for the use of the object?
What do you mean? Tzerach gufay means I'm using the object for something permissible. That's what it means. I'm using the hammer to crack open a nut. I'm using the pen to be a book's page marker, whatever. I'm using the object for something permissible. That's tzerach gufay. Tzerach mekayim means you need the place. So like the various dinim we learned about it. Now, things that you're not allowed to use on Shabbos, again, kedei shemalachta le'isser. Now, we learned already in the past, you're not allowed to brush your teeth with toothpaste on Shabbos. Because toothpaste is creamy, and you're not supposed to smoothen out cream. You can't smear cream. It's halachic, whatever, the various different halachos of it. So therefore, you're not allowed to use regular toothpaste. For instance, if you have liquid toothpaste, they have, in Israel I know for sure, somebody told me they have liquid toothpaste or mouthwash. So let's say, we'll learn in certain cases when you can brush your teeth on Shabbat, but generally speaking, let's say I want to freshen up my mouth, so I take a little bit of mouthwash in my mouth and then I brush my teeth using the mouthwash as toothpaste. That would be allowed, as far as you're not smearing any cream because it's liquid. But the issue with a toothbrush is as follows. Technically, a toothbrush is a kedei shemalachta le'isser. Why? Because the normal way of brushing your teeth is with toothpaste. So therefore, the normal usage of this toothbrush is to do something that you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. So it's a din of kedei shemalachta le'isser. So what happens now? So what happens if somebody wants to brush the teeth on Shabbos? So many opinions allow, not with toothpaste, but many opinions hold you can brush your teeth on Shabbos under certain conditions. Number one, if your gums always bleed when you brush, then you can't brush because you're going to make your teeth bleed. And it's psikresh, like when it's inevitable to happen. Secondly, you should have a designated toothbrush for Shabbos. This is what the poskim write. Because then, if it's designated for Shabbos, then it's not a kedei shemalachta le'isser, because this toothbrush is never made to brush in a forbidden way with toothpaste. So then you have a thing like that. Huh? So now also some people say it's better to have a dry toothbrush because of schita, but that's not necessarily true. Now the other issue that you have to keep in mind, that after you finish using the toothbrush, if you're not planning to use it again on Shabbos, you can't wash it. Why? Because then you're washing for Shabbos, for after Shabbos. So let's say Shabbos morning you get up, you want to brush your teeth, okay? So now you're going to brush your teeth in a permissible way, like we said. But now, so when's the next time you're going to use it? At night, before you go to bed, after Shabbos, right? What? Next Shabbos. That is also a problem. You can't do from one.
It doesn't need it for Shabbos.
Yeah, but you can't wash things on one Shabbos for another Shabbos. You can't wash, let's say you have a set of dishes that you only use on Shabbos. You can't wash the dishes Shabbos afternoon if you're not planning to use that Shabbos for next Shabbos. Because it's extra bother on this Shabbos. So wash it during the week. What?
Could you soak the toothbrush and mouthwash and leave it for after Shabbos?
You can put the toothbrush into mouthwash, yes. But you can't actually wash it because, again, then you're doing an extra...
If you're washing it, because right now you don't want a dirty toothbrush on your counter.
Yeah, a lot of women, they can't, the dirty dishes, that's made only for Shabbos, makes them not have peace on this Shabbos as well.
So you can put them into the dishwasher, but you can't line them up. So you cover them with a shmata.
Knowing that under the shmata is dirty dishes.
So, you know what? Like they say in America, get used to it. Get used to it. Okay, so now let's say, for instance, brushing hair. Okay, now on Shabbos, I mean, the problem with brushing hair on Shabbos is you're going to be pulling out hair. Now, pulling out hair is similar to the halacha of harvesting. It's connected to the ground, so to speak, and now you're pulling it out of the ground. The hair, I mean, not the head's the ground, but, okay, so basically it's also the halacha of kaisiv, whatever one it is, but it's still you're not allowed. So normally when you brush your hair on Shabbos, or I mean during the week, you pull out hair. If you brush your beard, and it always pulls out hair, so then it's psikresha. You could say, you can't say I don't want to pull out hair because it's going to happen anyway. So then, because a toothbrush is normally used in a situation which pulls out hair, huh? What did I say? I'm sorry, hairbrush. Can maybe use a toothbrush. What? Yeah. So again, if you make sure that when you touch your hair, you don't pull out hair. They tell a story, I mean, people are going to think it's funny, but for the Arizal's holiness, the Arizal once put his hand on his beard on Shabbos, and he left it there for the entire Shabbos, because he was afraid if he takes away his hair, he might takes away his hand, he might be pulling out hair. And the Arizal's level of Kedusha, there was something. So he put his hand in his beard, and he left it there for the entire Shabbos. Okay, we saw even interesting by Shabbos Farbrengens, like this Rebbe would sometimes go like this to his beard. But Shabbos Farbrengens, the Rebbe always had handkerchiefs on him, always. Different handkerchiefs for different things. But by Shabbos Farbrengen, which I saw myself countless times, the Rebbe never touched his beard with his hand. He would always wipe the beard with a handkerchief. A handkerchief is soft. Nothing is going to pull out from it. The hand is oily and sticky and, it can pull out hair. But the Rebbe, every time, he would just brush his beard using the handkerchief. And it wouldn't pull out any hair. But again, so then the shaila is, if you can't brush your hair, so then the hairbrush is keli shemalachta le'issa. But let's say you have the same thing with combs. So ideally, it says in halacha, women or men should have soft, very soft hair brushes, mamish soft, that don't do anything, and therefore they don't pull out your hair because they don't basically do anything. But people should be aware of it. So then the bottom line is, then the hairbrush would be kedush malachta listen. If it's a soft brush, then it's not going to pull out there. So then it's lechatchila mutter. The same thing, a shaitel brush, a brush for a woman to brush her wig, the shaitel. So then that's not so bad because that's not connected. It's not hair which is connected to the skin, like to the ground, that there's a problem of pulling out hair. So those are not muktza, and those shaitel brushes, they could brush the shaitel on Shabbos. Okay, gardening tools are all muktza. Okay, now what happens if you have, let's say, an empty... Today people don't use it. Years ago, people had these little change purses, change wallets. Remember them? The older people in the room are going to remember them. Yes, right, those little tiny things with elastic or push it. So those things are designated for money. Once money was in them, even if it's empty, it's mamish Muktza on Shabbos. But money is completely Muktza on Shabbos. So that thing would also be completely Muktza. Or pocketbooks. Now you have another interesting thing. Women have pocketbooks. Yeah? So in a pocket, or a wallet. Let's say a man has a wallet. Okay, so in a wallet you have Muktza, non-Muktza items. You have money, let's say. You have credit cards. Those are all Muktza. And then you have pictures. But again, it depends a lot. What is the primary usage of the wallet? So, what?
What about floss?
Huh?
Floss.
Flossing the teeth, we discussed already. Bottom line with flossing teeth is you have to have it pre-cut. You can't cut dental floss on Shabbos. You have to pre-cut it. And you can floss your teeth if your teeth don't always bleed. Some people it always bleeds and you can't floss on Shabbos because you're causing bleeding. If it sometimes bleeds, sometimes doesn't bleed, then you're allowed to floss on Shabbos. Because then it's not a secret, it's not for sure going to happen, so then they would be allowed to do it. Musical cases, let's say you have an expensive guitar. Okay? So this case is made for the guitar. And you're not going to put anything else into this case because it's an expensive guitar, an expensive case. So that case, it becomes Keli Shemalachta Le'isr, and you can only move it to Gufi Mekayme. Okay, cigarette cases, okay, okay, tefillin bags, by the way, even an empty tefillin bag, we learned the other day that most poskim say tefillin are a keli shemalachta le'isr, because you're not allowed to wear tefillin on Shabbos. Right? So therefore, an empty tefillin case is also keli shemalachta le'isr. It's a base for the keli shemalachta le'isr. So it can only be used for tzerech gufi mekayme. Okay, so in other words, things which are basically used for Dvarim Asurim. Okay, we have a few minutes left. The next aspect of Muktza we discussed a little bit, but now we're going to learn the actual dinam of it, and that's what's called Muktza Machmes Chsodin Kis. So Keli Shemalachta L'Issa we learned, you can move it if you need the place, or you want to use something permissible with it. But there are other Muktzas which are 100% Muktza, you can't move it for any reason. One of those Muktza is Muktza Machmes Chsodin Kis. In other words, a person will not use this object for anything but what it's made to use, which is something forbidden on Shabbos. Okay, it's an important point. It's something which is forbidden on Shabbos, and you're only going to use it for that. You won't use it ever for anything else. So that is worse than Keli Shemalachta L'Issa. Keli Shemalachta L'Issa is not 100% Muktza. You can move it to Gufay Mekayme. But it's Muktza Machmes Chsodin Kis is 100% Muktza. You cannot move it for any reason whatsoever. In a normal way of moving things. So, and this, how poskim write, is an interesting thing. This is individual decision. I mean, not your decision. If you would not use it for anything else but what it's designated for, okay, then for you it's Muktza. If another guy would use it, you wouldn't, but they don't care, they would use it for other things too. So for them it's only Keli Shemalachta L'Issa. They give an example, let's say, all these expensive tools, okay, like a jeweler's tools. Yeah, they have these little tools that they use. They're very expensive. They're not going to use the jeweler's screwdriver to screw in a nail. I mean, a screw. Then they're just not going to use it because it's too expensive. But you might be a person that would. You might be a jeweler that, I will use it. I won't hesitate to use it for a regular screw. So then, for him, it's not Muktza Chsodin Kis. It's not. But for me, if I don't use it, then for me it is. And there's an individual, the point of what it is. Now, for instance, they give you some, by the way, it has nothing to do with money, the value of it. Muktza Chsodin Kis is not a monetary value. It's something I will hesitate to use because it would get ruined, I wouldn't be able to use it. I'll give you a simple example. You bought something in the store, and you're planning to return it. But you buy clothing in the store, you tried it on, it doesn't fit. Okay? I want to give it back after Shabbos to the store. Now, because I want to give it back, I'm not going to use that clothing just for anything else, because if it gets ruined, it gets dirty, I won't be able to give it back. Right? So I'm not going to use it for anything else. So that garment, even though garments are never Muktza really, garments that you wear are never Muktza, but a garment that you're planning to return, that would be Muktza machbas sorin kis. That doesn't matter the value of it. It could be worth $1. But if I'm planning to return this to the store because I don't need it, that's called Muktza machbas sorin kis. What?
You get a package, and you return some of them, and you're going to keep some of them.
Okay, that's this. Packages are different than.